Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad you're here this morning. Got a big show lined up, but a special guest here. But first, as always, let's take a look at our weather because it's important. Brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning, Drew Pollard. Hard-working crew taking care of everyday comfort needs. Still warm, high 88, low 73. Our water temperature brought to us by Maranta Coffee Company. And folks, it's going up another degree. It's 85.3. And that's why they're catching all those marlin and blackfin tuna from the piers. It's amazing, but they are over there in Pensacola and Navarre, and also on Okaloosa Island Pier. I haven't heard anything locally here, but that water temperature has a lot to do with that. Yeah. Our river readings brought to us by the good folks at Panama City Coca-Cola. I've been saying this about a month now. The river is low. The Apalachicola at Bluntstown, 1.8. It's even gone down from yesterday. The Choctahatchee at Caryville has been real steady at a 0.8. And like I say, they're walking across it on the upper end of Choctahatchee, actually walking across it in about that deep of water. I've seen the picture. But don't try that around Ebro. You can't walk across it there. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Today, September 25th. Good tide today, low at 9:15 this morning and high at about 11:40 tonight. Winds coming out of southwest at 10 to 15. Let's take a break. We'll be back with our special guest. Okay, welcome back, and welcome back to Captain Rick Corley. Good to see you again.
Morning.
All right.
Good to be here.
Saw Captain Rick the other night at the Bay County Historical Society meeting. I said, it's about time you come back on. So here he is, and we had a really good meeting the other night.
Yes, we did.
Monday night.
It was informative.
Yeah, we meet it's the third Monday of the month, and I'd encourage you to come join us if you like history, if you like local history. I know some of your other counties have a historical society too with local history, so be a part of it, and it's really interesting. In fact, here I got a picture of the crowd. Check this out. Here's the crowd. We meet at the public library, and this have a meeting room. We had a packed crowd.
Yeah, it was full room.
Yeah, and our guest, okay, here it is. Here's another picture right here. Our guest was, there you go, and they were just talking about.
He was talking about the old St. Andrews.
Yeah, the early history of St. Andrews, and he's very well-spoken. He's a professor of course, he has all his degrees and all. But anyway, we're going to talk about it. This is so interesting, and because it pertains to the outdoors, because we're talking about everybody had to build their own boats, and that's how everybody got around with boats. And then a lot of people, that's what they had to eat with fish. And there's a lot of things haven't changed. I still have a boat and I still eat fish.
Yeah, well, there's one gentleman made a question there about, how did he make his fortune? Because one of the guys he was talking about was rather wealthy. And I said, he had a boat. If you got a boat, you can make money back then because everything moved by boat. We got our mail, our lumber, everything come from Mobile or Pensacola with the old tarpaulin,
And this goes back to around 1828. Now, when I talk about the Ware family, they came down in like 1870, about 50 years later, the Ware family came here. They actually had been surveying the area from the Gulf and all. So, but Captain Blood was one of the early guys he talked about. Yeah. And then the former governor of Georgia, this is where he settled. Yep. After when he retired. So St. Andrew has an awful lot.
Hasn't changed a whole lot. They still come down here.
Georgia people are still coming. They're still coming. But it's really good, interesting history. And you and I, we start talking. And it was standing room only. I want to thank Captain Rick because he gave Gail his chair. We got there a little bit late, and he gave Gail his chair. So thank you for doing that.
Oh yeah.
But we talk about all this early history, and then you're an expert on steamboats and all. Yeah. And but again, I always try to envision this whole Panhandle back in those days, what it would look like with the trees, the virgin forest, and the big trees, and
mosquitoes,
the natural bays, and mosquitoes this big.
Yeah, look like ultralights probably.
Yeah. But we had a lot of interest in it. A lot of and our speaker knew a lot about it. And they've done some excavations recently. And
Yes,
one of the really cool things, he had a picture. And I had read about this, well, it was on our newsletter. They'd actually dug up, they found some square nails, some old
Yep.
nails, and with their expertise and all, they're able to find out that chances are, they were almost certain, it was in St. Andrew, those nails were part of the boat that Hawk Massalina had
Yep.
built for Captain Blood in the 1830s. And
1830s, yeah.
1830s, and is that not cool to find that part of history?
Yeah, well, you know, nails didn't come along till in about the 1800s because before that they used dowels, you know, to build a boat. And some of those boats, when they were built, those old boats, if you can find them, look at them. Oh, go away. Excuse me.
That's all right. That's all right.
I forgot to turn it off. Anyway, when they build those boats, you look at them today. The artisan is amazing. I mean, it's a work of art in some of them old wood boats. When you start looking at how they paste them together, I got tickled. I went to the school down in Stuart, Florida. A survey school, and it cost a lot of money, and it was a good school. And I'd already been a surveyor about 17 years, but I thought, well, I'll go down and see what it's like. I liked using one word because I paid a lot of money to learn it, because I did learn one new word.
What was that?
Futtocks. I'd never heard the term in boat building, futtocks.
What is it?
When you either make a rib for a boat, either by steam bending it or cutting it to fit. They used to look for oak trees that were in the right bend. Well, later on they found out you can't always find a tree like you want, so you cut parts out of it and then bolt them together. Each part of a bolted together frame is called a futtocks. I had never heard the term, so I used it because I paid a lot of money to learn that one word.
Yeah, that's very interesting how they did that.
Yeah, I love looking at some of these old wood boats like the Governor Stone.
Yeah.
I surveyed her when it was only the keel and a few ribs over there at Back Bay, Biloxi, when they first built it the first time. And I got looking at it, I said, all this stuff was hand-hewed with a foot head, you know. And
that's amazing. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We're sitting here looking at. He's got an old book and I got an old book. And we're talking about the structure of how they built the old boats and all. And in fact, the center, if you look right here, the center of my book, the cover on the center cover is an old boat that was built here by Captain Studebaker.
Yeah.
And that always fascinated me. I tell you exactly where it was built. If you go across the Tyndall Bridge and over there to the right, going toward Tyndall, on the bridge over there to the right, on that point over there where. Opposite from the paper mill, that's where he built it and launched it right there on the eastern part.
Yep.
So that was Bob Studebaker.
Yeah, a lot of boats were built over there where you see the drum recovery vessels in Alligator Bayou there. That used to be Cantonment.
Cantonment, yeah.
Yeah, and they built a lot of boats. The Princess was built over there. It belonged to Max Anderson. Well, it belonged to Captain Charlie. His father, and then Max inherited it, and then of course it eventually rotted down. And later on, I got to sail on it a couple of times. That was a fine old boat.
Yeah, and your dad, how many boats do you think he surveyed?
12,123.
Exactly, 12,000. So he knew a lot about boats too.
Yeah, I did 8,002.
So your dad did more than you did.
Yeah, well. And there's a reason for that. Even though I actually surveyed almost the same amount of time, the reports, when he first started surveying, all they'd do is go aboard the boat, and as he found something wrong, he'd write it up. And when he got through, he would sign it, hand it to the captain, and here's your list of things to fix. That was a survey report back then. Lawyers said, no, you can't do it that way. You got to tell us everything in the boat. Yeah. And so it took, when I was doing a survey report, instead of being 3 or 4 pages like his, mine were usually around 16 to 20 pages to tell you all about the boat, everything that was good and everything that was bad. And I also had to go and look up the regulation and refer that as the reason I was doing it. Lawyers don't always solve problems, they create something. But it's okay. It was a good career. I enjoyed it. I missed some of it until I realized that in August an engine room is about 135 degrees, and I don't miss that.
Oh man, that's hard.
Well, at the last there, I was getting in my late 70s then, and the heat knock you down right quick.
Yeah.
But I missed some of it. I looked and I said, I'd like to do that, but not so much.
Captain Davis at Davis Queen Fleet. He built his very first boat, Dixie Queen, over there, and launched it over there about close to where the paper mill is.
Yep.
Launched it right there, and then the rest of his history, how he got a boat. He got Neil Kovacevic to build some boats for him.
He did.
Yeah. And like I said, our boat building, it's a shame we don't have a museum of fishing and boat building in Bay
totally
County.
Agree. That's the one thing that we should,
We've got
we don't have but about 2 or 3 people that really can call themselves shipwrights. I mean, really. That's almost a lost art anymore.
Well, Destin has a fishing and museum.
Yes,
we talk about it a lot, and our heritage is a lot larger than their heritage, although their heritage is very distinct as far as being in one little area there.
Yep.
But we were spread out all throughout the bay. Apalachicola has some little museum and all.
When I came here with my dad, I did a paper in the 6th grade at beach school about Bay County and Panama City.
Yeah.
And there was 14,000 people in town and 14,000 people in the county for a grand total of Bay County, 28,000 people. Now we got 190,000 in the county, and I don't know exactly what the city is, but it's up there.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that leads into the next segment. This is hard to believe. Our speaker was talking about the population in the early years, and Florida became a state in 1845. So this is a slide he had, the most populous Florida cities in 1850. Of course, Pensacola and Key West and St. Augustine. I mean, that was okay, all around water. Then Tallahassee, the capital. But look at the next one. St. Andrew had 1,200 in 1827. That was in the summertime when they took it right there. Well, and then Jacksonville, Tampa, and then how about Mariana and Monticello?
Yeah.
377. And that's how many people. We're talking about population, but when he put that up there, I was fascinated. I sort of knew about it. You forget about how Florida has grown, and of course Pensacola and St. Augustine. This is how Tallahassee ended up being the capital, but Key West had a lot of folks in it too. But
you know why Tallahassee wound up being the capital?
Yeah,
it was St. Joe, and St. Joe got hit with that storm.
Yeah,
and then they had the yellow fever, and they said, "No, we got to get inland."
Because they did want a port. They wanted a port city to be the capital because they were able to get to them faster and all. But then, like I say, the yellow fever epidemic and the Great Hurricane.
Even up to the old Tarpon days, we were getting our mail and all from Mobile and Pensacola by boat. We are a mariner city. That's all there is to it. And the other thing that tickled me about St. Andrews, most people don't realize the way you got to St. Andrews is either by boat or you had to ride the stagecoach. It came out of Dothan to Chipley, and then the train come through Chipley, and you could get on the stagecoach there and come on down to Panama City to St. Andrews. Actually, the stagecoach house is still at 1604 Isabella.
That's right.
And it's
the old
still
stagecoach
there.
House.
Yep. And I walk by it every day because I walk my dog.
Okay. So what's the address of it?
1604 Isabella Avenue.
Okay.
And then you go kind of diagonal from there over to Drummond. At the end of Drummond there used to be a pier that went way out, and that's where the clipper ships came into to load cotton and
I just marvel at the history on our waterfront history. I always have been just fascinated with it, and like you said, from Mobile to Pensacola to Carabel was a big port. Carabel was a big deal.
Well, my great-great-grandfather established Carabel.
See?
All the Corleys over there are kin to me. Zeke Corley and all the bunch over there. Yeah.
It's funny how they're still doing good things, with the Sea Quarters tournament they have every year to raise money for, I will talk about.
That little town and that small marina donates an amazing amount of money to those kids.
Each year. And of course, the big history, when they trained for the D-Day invasion down there.
Yes.
And that's where the museum, if you go to the museum there, they have some boats and all, but that was a really big deal where they trained for the D-Day
Well,
invasion.
they got a 24-foot deep channel there. They used to have ships come in there and load ammunition that was made at the Olin plant right there south of Tallahassee. And they had a little narrow gauge train that would bring it down to the Carabel, load it, and they'd take the ammo to Europe, wherever they needed it.
There was some fascinating history. Let's take our final break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Sitting with Captain Rick Corley talking about our maritime history and our heritage here. Let's take a quick look at our fishing game times. Looking at, brought to us by Blue Water, 156 to 356 this morning and this afternoon, 218 to 418. And we're talking about, before we get back to boats, we're talking about all the fish that have been caught and eaten here. And you said, hey, I had some mullet the other day, and I had some fresh mullet. It's been amazing.
When Jason was talking the other night, I said, you don't realize the salt kills up there at Long Point and at Breakfast Point. Lewis Tesser, he mentioned. Lewis grew up here. He was the state archaeologist for 35 years. Lewis and I used to build little 8'10" boats and paddle from Grand Lagoon all the way up looking for stuff along the shoreline.
He was a state archaeologist.
Yes, and then wound up, we would get to Breakfast Point eventually and camp out, and then we'd come back the same way. But we found the old bricks for the salt kills, and Indians had arrowheads and everything else mixed in with the oyster shells, where they had oyster up there.
That's cool. Real quick, the picture I was talking about, I put on the cover of the book right here. This is the Martha Lillian. This is the very first story I did with Captain Robert Studebaker. This was the one that's built over there at near Pratt's Cove. But that's just a fascinating picture for them to save it over these years. And then, of course, that's launching it right there. That's the champion. And then one more real quick.
Displacement style hull with a wine glass stern. Beautiful.
I want to show you those. And then Captain Rick's out of his book, let's talk about this. Okay, get up to steamboats. Now tell us, you got a good story on these two boats.
Yeah.
The top one or the bottom one?
The bottom one.
Okay.
That's the Florida Belle. She wound up getting her name changed down the road to River Rose. Okay. And the guy bought it up in Ohio. She was built in Freeport, Florida by Freeport Shipbuilding. Jim Murray and them built it. And I carried it to the first owner up there close to Steubenville on the Ohio River. And he hired me to go back and get it and bring it down and around Cross Lake Okeechobee and back up to Osning, New York, which is right there by Sing Sing on the river and above New York. And she stayed up there for, I think, 3 or 4 years as a dinner cruise boat. And then they hired me to go get her and bring her back down. And I don't know where she is now, but I'm sure she's still running. But she was twin diesel, ran generators that would run electric motors that ran the hydraulic pumps to turn the paddle wheel. She was a true paddle wheel, good handling boat. Okay,
this next picture here, this is cool because they're dressed in occasion. Members of Henry County, Alabama Historical Society on the aboard the U.S. Dredge Montgomery. That's just a cool picture right there.
Montgomery stayed in service for a long, long time.
That is a big one.
Yeah, she was 110 foot.
Well, they dressed in the, you familiar with this boat?
I am.
Yeah. That's just a cool picture. And the book, show the book you have, the book that you get all these pictures out of.
Yeah, this is the book that was written by Mueller. It's Perilous Journeys, A History of the Steamboating on the Chattahoochee, Apalachicola, and Flint Rivers from 1828 to 1928. That century that was the most important river system in the United States. It was during the Cotton Era, and it was important because all the farmers, most of the boats came out with somewhere between 60 and 80 bales of cotton on the boat, probably close to 100 barrels of syrup, and they would have wood, for different uses, a lot of it, lumber, and they'd also have, sometimes they'd put cattle on there even. It's amazing what all they would move with these things.
That 100-year window right there from 1828 to 1928 in American history, what a window. I mean, the early settlers going on through the Civil War, the Reconstruction, actually going almost up to the Depression era in 1920. So that covers so much.
Muskogee Iron Works.
Yeah, that boat, those boats just kept on churning.
Muskogee Iron Works, most people don't realize, that's where most of your firearms for the South were made. The first breech-loading cannon ever built was made at that plant there in Columbus. Also, there's a Confederate museum there in Columbus.
He brought up a good point, too, about St. Andrew. In 1863, the Union soldiers actually set fire, actually just shot cannons into St. Andrew and burned up 33 homes. Their orders were to leave everything, leave nothing standing.
Burn it down.
They burned down 33 homes in St. Andrew.
They came in here really to destroy the salt kills too, because that's you didn't have refrigeration.
They went ashore. I didn't know this. They went ashore and robbed everybody. They even robbed Hawk Massolino.
Yeah,
remember? I didn't know that till Monday night. Yeah, he had Hawk Massolino did real well as a freeman, and they actually robbed him in his house. Yeah. It was amazing. Amazing history that we continue to learn. So, and again, it all focuses around the waterfront. It all happened around the waterfront.
Yes, it did.
And that's what I love and appreciate about it.
Like I say, if I'm not any good at what I did, it's all my fault. I had some of the biggest giants in the industries teach me, and I thoroughly enjoyed growing up here. We grew up in paradise.
Yeah, I know. We're about to run out of time again, but we always enjoy having you on and sharing these stories. And like I said, the other night we learned some things right there.
Oh, yeah.
So good. Appreciate y'all watching. Y'all do something good for your fellow man today. Have a great day. Enjoy the outdoors. Let's take care of it. And God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.